Hello, hikers. I'm Green Giant, one of your hosts. Ordinarily, when we record an episode of Stories from the Trail, I'm talking to you from my fancy high-tech studio, the one where I record my audiobooks. Today I'm coming to you from the inside of a barn with an old tin roof in the rain, because I can. We recently got some new equipment here at the studio. Gives us the ability to record remotely, which, if you think about it, is exactly what you want for a trail show. I was so excited to try this new thing out, I didn't even wait for the rain to stop. I just had to tell you guys about this because we're going to do something really fun with this. We're going to take this out into the field and we're going to record hikes. We're going to record camping trips. We're going to record trail events. There's a lot coming up. March is a big month for the AT. We've got the kickoff coming up. Later on this spring, we've got trail days. A lot of big things happening. One of the things we're going to do, and this is actually relevant to today's episode, is we're going to take someone on their very first ever overnight backpacking trip. That's what we're going to talk about today. I want to introduce you to my friend Daniel. Daniel and I go way back. We'll get into the details in the show. Megan and I interviewed Daniel for a while, but really we wind up flipping things around, and Daniel interviews us. He's never done this before, so he's got a lot of questions. The kind of things you'd expect someone who's never hiked or camped before to want to know. We're going to talk about gear. We're going to plan the trip, weather, food, logistics, anything you might possibly want to know. I'm going to go back inside now, warm up. You guys relax, settle in. Here we go. It's time for some stories from the trail. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Gary. Gary. Meow.
So,
Oh, you got that reference. I wasn't sure how many things. I do a lot of referencey things, so I didn't know how
Oh,
it
I
was going
don't
to
get
go.
any references, but that one was SpongeBob, and
Damn, look at you.
I had to dig deep for that one. Is this being
Really?
recorded right now, Gary? Gary, do we have this in? Is this recorded right now?
you know what? It
It's a
is.
historic moment.
Yeah. Once
Hold that
we
beautiful
got this
bean
thing
footage.
working, I pressed record a bit ago just to make sure, and we got it.
Oh, thank God, because I don't get any
Whew.
references. This is like, mark it on the calendar, folks.
Well, I don't know how much Gary's told you about me, but I'm a mailman, and like I will go through podcasts and books like there's no tomorrow. I'll just fucking kill it while I'm out on my route.
Yeah, I actually haven't told Megan anything about you. I was going to use
Oh, I
this
see
as
how it
our
is.
introduction. So Daniel makes balloon animals in his spare time.
Oh yeah, I do. I do a lot of things.
Do you leave them in people's mailboxes?
No, I do it for people at work. I'm like, hey, what do you like? Oh, you like a dog? Okay.
You should definitely leave people balloon animals in their mailboxes. I mean, it might be illegal, like because of your job and everything, but that would be really funny.
I do it for the kids to get them off the back of my truck. Because they
Kids
like to
chase
ride.
you instead of
Well, they
dogs chasing you.
Well, both. I had a couple chihuahuas getting kind of nasty with me.
Dogs. They're not
I'm-
even real dogs.
Oh my god, they're like rats.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, they're gross.
But no, I made balloon animals for kids on my route. But I don't know. I like the reaction of people. Like when I was making stuff for Katie, and like I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not that great. She thought I was like the greatest thing in the world when I was making stuff.
It was pretty.
I don't know if
it
you
was really entertaining to watch.
Yeah, Gary was all nervous every time I popped a balloon. I was like, Gary, you okay? That's the new trope now. Because I was on the couch the other day doing balloons, and we were watching something, and I popped, and I was like, you okay, Deidre? You all right? Yeah. She's like, I'm not Gary, Daniel. So, well, since you don't have much going on, I do. I like hiking. I like camping. I like balloon animals. I like juggling. I like yo-yos. I like kites like Gary. Big into pop culture.
Daniel is the only person I
like-
know. Daniel is the only
Huh?
person I know who has a collection of members-only jackets.
Oh yeah, I have about 30 of them. Do you know what that is?
For real?
Do you know
You
what
know
a
what members only
members-only
jackets are?
jacket
I
is?
mean, I'm just imagining like an old school, like high school varsity
No.
jacket.
Do you
that
know
says members
who?
only
Do you
on the
know
back.
who Stan Lee is?
I mean, I've heard the name.
Have you ever watched a Marvel movie?
A Marvel movie?
Mhm.
I'm probably.
Okay, well, it's always the old guy in the Marvel movie who's like, "Hey, you want a hot dog?" or something like that.
I
It's
have to Google.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to send you a link in the chat, but
Oh.
members
Well,
only.
basically, it's the jackets he wears.
It's a jacket from the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what picture of him am I looking for?
Any picture? I mean, he's always wearing it, pretty much. I mean, just look up members only jacket and then images.
So basically an old man jacket?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
I gave one to my dad.
Exactly. That's fine.
So
Okay.
has he told you how we met?
No. I think you guys mentioned a little bit about it yesterday. Like,
No,
oh, okay. Well,
not at all.
okay, then tell me how you met.
Okay, so we both listened to a show. It's kind of a pop culture nerd show. It was called The Morning Stream, and I was just getting started with the show with my neighbor Skip about camping, and I'd be listening to The Morning Stream, and then one day I heard it, and there was an advertisement for a guy who was hiking Appalachian Trail. Like they do an ad segment, like you can buy like an ad segment on their show for like $5.
It's
And I
a little
heard
more
this-
than that, but you've got the right idea.
Okay. Anyway, so I heard it and I was like, oh, my show is boring as hell. So let's get someone else to talk about stuff. So I got in contact with Gary and then he called in as he was hiking the trail every so often. And then afterwards, when he got back, probably a month or two later, he's like, hey, we should meet up. I'm coming down. I was like, sweet. And I came down and the rest is history.
What was the
I
ad
didn't
for?
realize you were one of the people that he was calling every so often. I knew he was calling into a radio show.
Yeah,
Like-
that was us.
But I wasn't like, sorry, Gary. I wasn't like thinking he was so cool that I was like, oh, I gotta listen to this radio show. Because I was like, who's this guy? This is just a guy to hike with. Why do I need to hear his voice anymore? I mean,
No kidding. You talk to me all day long. Why would you want to listen to me on headphones?
exactly.
So is this just going to be the show, me just shooting
No.
the shit and you just picking it out?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's where we're going to get a lot of material. But
Okay, well then I better start asking legit questions then.
if you want to, yeah.
I mean, that's what you're wanting, right? I mean, that's what the episode's about.
You're interviewing us, so you get to figure out
Okay,
what questions
so
you want to
let's-
ask.
Hey guys, I'll set it up. How about that? So we'll
Okay.
pretend for a second that we're on a show. This is my friend Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
Here we go.
Oh, come on.
Smartass already.
We are both the same person almost.
So how did we meet? We already said that.
Through podcasting, the wide world of podcasting
Yeah.
and pop culture.
Yeah, Daniel's a podcaster. Daniel's a mailman. Daniel is a balloon animal artist. What else are you,
Oh,
man?
God. Juggler. I used to do aerial fabrics. I do ballroom dancing. I just went skiing. I'm not a skier, though.
So you're a well-rounded individual. You are a Renaissance man. You even got the mustache to prove it, right?
I do. I'm working on the handlebar.
It's a good one too.
Just for fun. I like to do different things. I like to mix it up. So, you know.
What
just
about
fun.
hiking?
I like hiking, but I usually hike to a waterfall. That's how I know that it's a hike. It's only a hike if there's a waterfall at the end. Went to this waterfall in Hawaii, and along the way there was all these what are they? There's some kind of fruit. I forgot what
Pineapples?
they were. No, not pineapples.
Mangoes.
What's the really small, really juicy ones called?
Pomegranates?
No.
Those aren't small.
Oh.
Kiwi?
What are they? No. It's like it looked like an orange, but it's like guava everywhere. I mean,
Wow.
if you ever wanted to be a bum, Hawaii is the place to be because you can eat, from the trees and it's always gorgeous. So yeah, there was a there's a waterfall at the end of that trail. And, you know, I mean, we like caves, so I don't know if you consider that hiking.
Have you been caving?
Yes, I go caving everywhere. I mean, just commercial caves, not like spelunking or anything,
Oh,
which I
okay.
would love to do. I'd love to get a bunch of people, because usually you need a group of people to do like an overnight thing. Oh, I love caves. Love caves.
Yeah, but you gotta poop in a bag.
Whatever.
Oh,
Do
I
what you
forgot
got to
about
do, right?
that. Leave no trace.
Yeah, leave no trace in a cave. You can't bury your feces, so you have to shit in a Ziploc and take it out with you.
That's
Ugh.
fine.
Yeah.
That's not that big a deal.
Eh.
Just don't eat a lot of fiber. But okay, so questions for y'all.
Hang on, I got some more questions for
Okay.
you. I got some more for you.
Okay.
So
I thought I was interviewing you, but
we'll get to that in a second.
okay.
All right. So you like to hike to waterfalls? You day hike. Have you ever been on an overnight backpacking trip?
No.
This is going to be great. Okay. So Daniel's the co-host of Happy Camper Radio. Is it fair to call you the co-host? Frequent guest?
Off and on guest of Happy Camper
Frequent
Radio.
contributor to Happy Camper Radio. Now, most of your camping has been, if you're not overnight backpacking, what do you do, Daniel? How do you camp?
Yeah, pop up.
You a glamper?
No, it's a pop up.
Yeah, tell us about
you
your
gotta
setup.
Set it up.
What's a typical camping day for Daniel like?
Where do I go?
Yeah, where do you go? What do you bring? What do you do while you're there?
Well,
Just give us a little rundown.
The last place we went to Myrtle Beach. We went to a state park in Myrtle Beach, and we set up. We had a little bit of an issue with a propane tank, so we don't do propane anymore on our new pop-up we just bought last weekend. We set it up, and electric heat. I mean, we really don't spend that. We're very big doers, so we don't really spend a lot of time at the campground. So we're like, let's go to the beach, let's go to the strip, let's go to do this, let's go do that, let's go to the. I mean, so it's not like we hang around the camp very often. I mean, most we'll do is come back and
where
start
do
a fire,
you
make some s'more.
Where do you usually go? You said a beach, campgrounds. Just tell me some locations that you like.
Well, we went to Myrtle Beach. Before that, we went to a campground near Mammoth Caves. I've been like to Savannah, Skidaway Island. I'm from Georgia. I go to Callaway Gardens. It's like near the little White House where FDR went for his polio treatments. It was it's a state park called FDR State Park. Been there since before I was born. Literally, my mom was pregnant down there with me.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
And yeah, we were in a tent then. It was a big old 70s tent, but I was like, an infant. So I mean, camping's always been, a part of my life. And I mean, we've been doing the hotel thing for the last year, but I don't know. I just have to be out in the
right.
Out
Yeah,
in
and you guys get
nature.
around too. You don't just sit around the house and only camp occasionally.
Oh, no.
You guys are always in like some different city or some cool or interesting place. You're movers.
But we never feel like that. We feel like we don't do enough. We feel like we're like, okay, I guess we do enough, but not really. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I've been camping in a pop-up my whole life. My parents have a trailer up in the mountains, and back in the day, they were with a camping club. It was called Coast to Coast, and basically you go all over the country, and as long as you paid your membership dues, you could camp for $1 a night. So we would accustomedly, pick out a place to go camping and, go there. It was usually in the middle of nowhere. I remember one time when I was a kid, we went to Disney World and went to the campground, which was like 30 miles away because they wanted to save money.
That sounds
Because
like
I always thought that
like a
camping
lot of
was
fun.
all about saving money. No, it's not really about saving money, but I think it's still worth it. It's just, I don't know, it's in my blood and I can't get it out.
Cool.
So.
Are you excited about carrying all your stuff into the woods and sleeping in a tent?
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, I was in Boy Scouts, and like I thought we would do some of that. I mean, they did have a trip to New Hampshire to hike a little bit of the AT, but my dad was like, "Oh, that's the hardest part, and we're poor." But I really wanted to do that. But we would hike a little bit, but mostly all we did in Boy Scouts is like We learned knots and we cooked and cleaned. And that was like, I swear to God, that's all we would do is cook and clean and cook and clean and maybe sit around for a little bit. I'm like, ugh, I want to go. I want to do something. Then they
Sounds
took me
like
on a snipe hunt. That's why I realized what snipe hunts were.
I was going to say, it
That
sounds
wasn't
like
too
the grown-ups were using you kids as kind of like a mobile workforce.
Yeah, we would go in the middle of the field. In the middle of the field, we would just nothing. There was nothing that we would just. It was annoying, but I mean, some of it was fun. But yeah, I like to be outdoors. I like to be active. I like to see new things. I mean, that's something that hiking really tickles my fancy, because like it's like y'all said I think a couple episodes ago, like it feels like your life is longer because you see new stuff every day and new experiences, and that's my crack right there. I love new experiences and I love new things and new people. I
can
mean,
tell.
like being on the AT seems like a dream come true. It's like new people. I'm like a dog when it comes to new people. I mean, Megan could attest to this from last night, and I'm trying to be cool, trying to not freak out. I don't know. So I still have this. I still get. It's gonna sound stupid. I still feel like you're kind of a superstar. Like every time I meet you, I'm like,
Who, Megan?
I'm kind of nervous. No, you.
Oh, get
I'm always. That's why I didn't. That's
Should
why
I
I didn't
be
like.
should I be disappointed that I'm not
I
a
never.
superstar?
No. That's why I was going crazy last night, because I was talking to you and I've heard so much about you and I've read about you, and like I'm like, oh my gosh, it's this fictitious person. But I'd probably be a little, starstruck if I saw you. That's why last time I went to y'all's house, I saw Katie, and she, not that she's not a star, it's just that like I don't listen to her on my headphones when I'm listening to your books or something, or reading your books or something like that. So it's like I need a little bit of space before I can, embrace the Green Giant.
Oh, man.
So
I'm just
Since
like
we're on this-
regular people, Daniel. I put my pants on 3 legs at a time.
right. That middle leg's a bitch, isn't it? So I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this last night. I had a dream about you. Now, if I could draw, I would totally draw this. I could see you as like one of the Ninja Turtles, but you're like a hiking Ninja Turtle, like with your backpack on. You're always wearing green, and you love pizza. It's like literally the most perfect thing in the world.
Oh my God, that's
Maybe
great.
Mark can do a rendition of that.
Like his hiking poles, or
I
like
bet he
his
can.
sticks. Have you seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Megan?
I know of it.
Okay, well that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pretty much, everything you need to know is in the title of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, turtles that are ninjas. I know that one's name is like Raphael.
That's the yeah.
He's the painter.
He's crude with attitude. He's the red one.
Oh boy.
That's all I know.
That's all you need to know. He's the best.
Daniel,
He's kind of whiny though.
What are you looking forward to about our trip?
Talking.
Aww.
talking and seeing sights. And you say, hey, you know what kind of tree that is? Well, that looks like a hickory. Oh, it looks like it's getting a blight. Or, hey, you can eat this. I don't know, the same thing we talked about when we hiked on your trail. And Travis was like, hey, you can eat that. Hey, you see this? Which is really cool.
But that was a
Gary
Snickers
does
bar.
bring a lot of outdoors knowledge to hikes. There were a lot of things I learned from him when we were hiking together on the trail.
Yeah.
Name one.
I learned what a red eft is.
Oh, wow.
And I also learned about the its different like life stages, and took pictures of them and then sent it to my parents and said, guys, guess what this is? And then had to explain it.
I love those little
because of
guys.
you.
Daniel, you know what she's
Yeah.
talking about?
I have no clue.
So the red eft, if I remember correctly, is like the middle of the life cycle of this. What is it? A red spotted salamander, or what's the
I think that's
the
it. Yeah.
actual name? Is that a red spotted salamander? Yeah. So they're born in water. They become a red eft and leave the water and live terrestrially, to live on land for a majority of their life, and then they turn back to like a darker green color, go back into the water, and then have babies and die.
They like triple in size when they turn green too.
Is
Yeah.
an animal?
It's
It's like a little salamander.
the eastern
okay.
newt. Eastern newt.
Newt.
Yeah,
Newt.
just
That's
Oh,
it.
newt. Yeah.
She turned me into a newt.
Yeah, and I would see them all over the trail, and Gary had explained what they were, and
I got
taught me
better.
about that. So I kept running into them, and go, "Oh, Gary taught me that. I know what that is."
Cool.
Wow, nice. That was fun.
Okay, so how much, if I want to like do it like on occasions, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, how much should I invest in, stuff?
You mean financially? How much to financially invest in quality gear?
Yes.
How
Well,
long
I guess
of
it depends on
trips-
your resources and your approach. You could be like me, where I decided to be as cheap as I possibly could, and then realized, oh, I really love this. My cheap gear isn't really working. And then I had to put more money into it. I would say if you start off with more resources than I started off with, I would recommend go get quality gear from the start.
But
We'll
what's
get into-
good? I
we'll-
mean, I feel like, I go into a REI and I have, sticker shock.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff you're going to get from a retailer is going to be quality stuff. I guess it depends on like the weight and like how excessive do you need your pack to be? Like, do you need a 70-liter pack, or are you going to try to aim for 50 or 45 or
How do you
go
know what a
really
good
ultra
pack
light?
is? How do you
We're-
know what a good pack is?
Hey,
I mean,
we're
all I
gonna
know is,
break it-
you want it light.
We're gonna
That's
break
all I
it
know.
down.
Whatever feels good on your body.
We're going to break it down piece by
Okay.
piece here in a second, but before we get too far off track, I want to go back to something Megan mentioned about, you said your cheaper gear wasn't cutting it.
Yeah.
What it just in general, what, I don't want people to think that like more expensive equals better, but
Right. Because that's not necessarily true.
what things about that cheap gear didn't you like, or did you realize after using it for a while wasn't going to cut it?
Well, I shopped sales online in order to save money for, preparing for my through hike. And I found a lot of good stuff that was relatively inexpensive, and I found some deals that I got really excited about. But there were some things that I like my tent, for example. I saved money on my tent, but I ended up really disliking it because of the weight, because
was really
I
heavy.
felt maybe I should have spent an extra $100 and saved, this is ridiculous, saved the extra pound or pound and a half. It sounds really ridiculous to say, I would love to spend an extra $100-$200 just to save a few pounds. But it came down to that for me. But that was because I was doing it for, 5 months.
Yeah.
Is
Now-
everyone as obsessed about weight as like y'all? Because that's all I
No.
hear about.
No, not everybody's as obsessed about weight, I think. I mean, I think a lot of thru hikers become obsessed about the weight because well, for me, I became obsessed with it because I learned what it felt like when it was uncomfortable.
Did you
I
ever weigh
knew
your pack?
what it felt like to have a 50-pound pack.
Did you ever weigh your pack before you started?
I think I did, but I was also flying down to Georgia and
Yeah.
had packed some items that I wasn't going to be taking with me. So I
Gotcha.
wrote off the heavier weight as like, oh, well, this is just some clothing I'm going to take down and then ship. My aunt's going to ship it back for me and I'm not going to take it. Or it's like a bad shirt. I'm just going to leave it down there in Georgia. But, once I took those things out, my pack was still very heavy. I don't remember the exact number, but it was over 45 pounds.
Now, a lot of this, you don't really want to obsess over weight so much on a trip like what Daniel and I are going to do.
Right.
Now, Daniel, I think we're just going to do an overnight, and we'll talk about where in a minute. But this gets back to one of Megan's, like part one of her answer to your question. It depends on your approach. So where are we going? We want to look at like, what kind of mileage, what kind of elevation gain, how long are we going to be out there? If you're planning on doing a lot of like 10-day, 2-week trips, you're going to need a different pack than if you're just going like 3 to 5, like you and I are. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, here's what I told you about this. I want to do the Georgia part of the trail. I want to do the approach and then the Georgia part. I mean,
I've never heard that sentence before. I want to do the approach.
Yeah, I mean, I figure it's a little bit more, and it starts in a actual spot because I think the actual start, which is really weird, it just starts on like some back road, which is weird. You'd think the start to the AT would be something much grander.
Yeah, Springer Mountain, you got to drive through some crazy dirt roads and
That's amazing
like
to me because I've been to like the approach trail. Like we we
and
were
the
on
approach
like
trail's nice.
a couple years ago. We were on the trail to get to
Yeah.
the approach trail. I was like, this is cool. I like this.
The approach trail's nice.
And
I've seen it a few times, and if I'm ever lucky enough to get to hike the AT again, I will do the approach trail. Just I don't know, like that stone arch and the visitor center and the big waterfalls and the stairs. There's nothing else like that anywhere else on the trail. It feels more like a start than the plaque on Springer's iconic, but it's also it's hard to get to, and really there's not much there. It's just kind of a lump in the
it
woods.
starts at Tallulah Falls, right? That's where it is, right?
Amicalola.
Amicalola.
Yeah, I have to say it slow because that's a hard one.
I always get those mixed up. I don't know why.
Falls.
They're all falls to me.
Yep. But we're not doing the AT for our trip, Daniel.
I know.
Yeah, I mean
But I'm just saying, like, what, like, I know it sounds stupid, but like my ultimate goal is to do the
we'll
Georgia
get there.
part.
Yeah, you and I will get there. We'll go in like the middle of summer or sometime when traffic's not so heavy. But what I was thinking, so Daniel lives in Atlanta. I live in Asheville. We're about 3.5 hours apart.
Yeah.
And I'm surrounded by beautiful hiking trails up here, but I don't want to make you drive all the way up here. So I was thinking we could meet somewhere kind of in the middle. How do you feel about doing a section of the Foothills Trail?
Where's that?
That's the one we talked about on, I think it was episode 1. It straddles the South Carolina, North Carolina border. The first few miles of it are in the Chattooga River. You can actually see Georgia from like the first third of the trail.
Okay, yeah, that sounded interesting.
So, and I think it might just be like an hour and a half for each of us. It's a good, convenient middle spot. And there's a bunch of possible places where we can like leave one car, and hike from one car to the other, set shuttle that way.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing
what do you guys have planned for timeline? Like, do you have a certain number of days?
Good question.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Daniel, I was thinking like the middle of March. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, just give me some dates. I'll make it work.
Let me bring up my calendar.
I'm here to please.
This is the boring part we won't put on the air. We're looking at calendars. All right, so March.
Middle of March? What's it going to be like down there middle of March, like for weather?
Oh, good question. So middle of March, this is something people need to know. The middle of March, popular start time for the AT, we're going to be in similar terrain. We're going to be at similar elevation, northern Georgia. We can expect, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. We had temperatures in the single digits here in North Carolina last week, and it was 50 today.
Yeah, it was in the 60s down here.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Gary and I are storytellers.
Haven't been in here in a while. Any coyotes in here? Nope. Okay. All right.
Not all of our stories are good.
She turned me into a newt.
The good news is you didn't pay a dime for this podcast, and since we don't have any advertisers yet, the best way for you to support the show is to join our Facebook group. You can go to Facebook and type in Stories from the Trail, and you can find us that way. Send us your messages, questions, pictures, random stories of your own adventures, and are we going to do gear first, then food? Because food is a whole chapter in and of itself.
We could do a whole show on food.
Well, yeah, we probably should.
We probably should. Yeah, let's
send us an email if you want us to do a whole episode on food. How about that?
Send us an email if you don't want us to, because we're going to do it anyway.
Take that, listeners.
We don't care what you think.
This is our show.
So anyway, the weather is going to be a little unpredictable. Yeah, so I
about
guess
the
what
weather?
we need to figure out is, okay, so we know where
Now,
we're going.
where is this place? Is it a state park or something?
Yes.
Where does it start?
It starts in Oconee State Park, which is
Okay.
in South Carolina. It's near the...
Is there a disc golf course there?
there
Oh yeah,
might
I
be.
played disc golf too.
There might be, but let's talk timing, Daniel. Do you want to go for just like 2 days and one overnight, or do you want to try like Friday, Saturday, Sunday? You know, spend 2 nights in the woods, maybe put in some miles. What's your comfort level?
Sure. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Your
I mean,
your comfort
as
level
long
is
as I
sure.
can get the days off, I'll do whatever.
How do you feel about
Ish.
like, you know, physically? You're pretty fit, right?
I guess I don't know.
So yeah, I
mean,
guess the question
I'm
is,
I'm built for marathons. I'll tell you that. I didn't do a single I didn't do any working out for the Peachtree, and that was like a 10K, and I did fine.
okay, so you know you have no problem, you know, pushing yourself, and you're you know, relatively physically fit. You don't have any injuries or asthma or anything, any special concerns.
No.
I don't need to
No.
make you sign a waiver.
No.
No. Okay.
No. I mean, I'm
No
look.
allergies
I'm telling
that
you.
he needs to know about.
Okay, I'm
So,
gonna stroke your ego. Just being around
don't.
you and in the woods will it'll be like a permanent high. I'll be loving life, just
Oh.
hanging out. You know.
There's a chance that Katie
You know,
might be coming with
hiking.
us.
That oh God, I will be crazy excited if that's
Oh, good,
if that's the
good,
case.
good. We're gonna have a lot of fun. So, usually when Katie and I go on a trip like this, you know, like just an overnighter, what we'll try to do is plan. You know, we don't. Something like this is, you know, you want to have some time to relax and hang out at camp. This isn't like a through hike where we need to, you know, crank out miles from sun up to sundown. We're going to try for like a nice leisurely pace. We want to be able to stop and, like, you know, take pictures at waterfalls or like hang out and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, appreciate the view. We're not racing against time. So we try to go for like 5 to 8 miles per day on a trip like this. This is, you know.
Okay. Now here's the question. What is 5 miles on a trail as opposed to 5 miles like on a road or something?
Megan, you want to
Like,
take that
how
one?
would you compare it? How would you compare it?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It depends on the terrain. It depends on the terrain, your physical fitness, and how much weight you're carrying on your back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So,
And
But
your
what would
knees.
but for you, what is okay, say you've got a pack on and on a flat road 5 miles, what would that be in the mountains, would you say?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know anything about a flat road, but I can tell you that 5 miles for me in the woods, with breaks and everything, going through some mountainous terrain, like on the AT, I would be going at a 2.5 to 3 mile per hour pace.
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty quick. I generally
Yeah,
average
that's
about 2 miles per hour.
I
Mhm.
average over the day 2 miles an hour because I like to take breaks and
Yeah,
stop.
yeah,
and smell
including
roses.
breaks. Yeah, my 2
Yeah,
miles
so-
per hour includes like a 15-minute break every hour. You know, I'm all about those sitting spots.
So if you're a runner, then you probably are in decent shape.
I mean, I'm not a runner, but I can if I want to be. You know?
So
That makes
hiking
any sense.
probably won't be exceptionally difficult
let's
for
just
you.
put it, I'm not like Travis. Like, he was fucking killing it when we were on your trail. I'm not like that. I mean, I was keeping up with them, but I was sweating.
Oh,
Travis was keeping
the
up with
one
us when we
behind
were
our
through
house.
hiking, so he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think I could go that high, but I mean, I've never had a problem keeping up with you, Gary.
So that brings up an interesting point. When people hike at different speeds, usually we run into a situation where like one person is either struggling to keep up with the other person, or the person up front is like, you know, I gotta slow down all the time. I'm constantly waiting on. That doesn't happen when we hike.
Okay.
You know what? Usually, what you know, Katie and I'll do, or if I'm hiking with someone I've never hiked with before, is you know, I'm actually kind of the slow one, so I'll usually just bring up the rear, and I don't have a problem with hiking apart too. So like if we're doing 8 miles, we don't have to be like right on each other's heels the whole time either. Like Katie'll she'll head up, she'll zoom up a hill or something, or I'll zoom down a hill. We won't see each other for like an hour or so, but we know where we're going, and we'll get caught up again there. So it's kind of like it takes off the pressure. You don't have to like struggle to keep up or struggle to slow down, and it makes it a more kind of laissez-faire approach to hiking.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of that's what I do.
Okay, now here's my question: what should I get for this trip? Because I've been looking at these shoes like you got, and I'm like, oh boy, that's gonna put a dent in the old pocketbook.
What do you use right now when you go out in the woods? Do you go out in the woods? Do you?
I bought some Columbias that were used at Goodwill.
What kind of like waterproof or ankle high boots, trail runners? What are they?
I don't know. That just the Columbia, so I was like, I guess this is for hiking.
Okay.
Is your running right now on pavement only?
Well, I've been doing the treadmill lately.
You have running shoes though, right?
But, yeah, I've got running shoes.
So we'll
But they're flat running shoes. They're not trail running shoes.
No.
I mean, they've got some tread on them though, right?
What's that, Gary?
They've got some tread on the bottom. I mean, they don't have to be. You don't need trail runners. You can hike in running shoes.
Right.
You'll all the ankle support you need. You'll get from trekking poles, and you've got a pair, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say just get some good socks, and running shoes should be fine. Where we're going.
So I'm thinking about getting some more toe socks, because I love toe socks.
OMG, me too. Love toe socks.
Do you get those really expensive $12 ones? I know they're a lot of money, but oh my god, they're
Which
so
company?
awesome.
Is that Injiji?
Yep.
Yeah, I have a few pairs. I have a few pairs of Injiji. I have some Smart Wool, a handful of pairs of Smart Wool toe socks that are actually merino wool. I've got a new pair that aren't the tall type of socks. They're like the crew cut ones.
Yeah.
I don't know what brand that is, but those are brand new. I got them for Christmas this year. And I have toe socks for like every holiday, because my family has over the years got me toe socks every single Christmas without fail.
I know it's kind of a girl thing, but like
I don't think it's a girl
thing.
Well,
some of my toes rub together, and that's been my biggest problem when I run, is my toes rubbing together, and
that creates.
I think toe socks are just for people who want their toes to have a little breathing room.
Yeah, exactly. But
it's like a sleeping bag for your toes.
Yeah.
So
it's
I'm probably going to get.
Like, why would we wear gloves? Gloves are way more common than mittens. Toe socks are just gloves for your feet.
So I'm thinking about probably buying some new shoes. I mean, is there anything else that I should get, or are you gonna?
Well, let's run down the list and see what you have, because there's a lot of stuff that you can borrow from me. I've got tons of extra gear.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
He's got a whole closet of it.
Got a whole room in the house full of just backpacks.
Here's my biggest concern. My biggest concern is food. I like to eat a lot.
Yeah, we'll go over that too.
Okay.
Yep.
Are we gonna do gear first, then food? Because food is a whole chapter in and of itself.
We could do a whole show on food.
Oh yeah, we probably should.
Yeah, let's
send us an email if you want us to do a whole episode on food. How about that?
Send us an email if you don't want us to, because we're going to do it anyway.
Take that, listeners.
We don't care what you think.
This is our show.
It's free.
Okay, so Daniel, do you have a backpack?
No, I have a Camelback.
Okay, that's not going to work. You'll need a backpack. You can't fit all of your gear in a Camelback. Okay.
Should I get a backpack?
Only if you want to do this often. So why don't you test it out first and see whether or not you like it before you spend money. What I'm going to do is I've got a backpack for you here I've got a few to choose from, but for a 3 to 5 day trip, I'm probably going to give you one of my Gregory packs. It's got a couple of pouches on the outside. It's got a feature called a brain, which is just kind of like a top pouch that cinches down on top of it. And I think it's like 50...
Are you going to have the pinky?
The what?
The pinky. Oh, you got that reference.
I did. I got it.
And I didn't.
I told you get my
it took me a while. I got it, though.
Pinky in the brain?
Pinky in the brain. What are we doing today?
Same thing we do
every day.
You know that's coming back out. They're starting it up again.
Oh, good. All right, so I got a pack for you. Do you have a sleeping bag?
Not really.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
can get one. I mean,
Again,
I sleep in a pop-up. We have comforters.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
You have like a mattress that you tow behind your car,
There's
right?
a mattress.
Yeah.
That's a special kind
Holy
of camping right
cannoli.
there. Okay, so this is what they call the big three in the hiking world: your pack,
Mhm.
your sleep system, and what's the third? Your what's the big three? Your pack, your sleeping bag, and your tent. Jesus Christ, Gary. How many times have you done this? All right.
It's just second nature at this point.
Yeah, I know. I don't even think of like there's the 10 essentials and the big three
But
and the
here's my
7
question. I mean,
principles of LNT.
did anyone ever hike the AT and say, fuck a tent? There's
yeah.
shelters.
Yes.
Plenty of people.
So
And Ninja Mike didn't carry a tent. He had a tarp.
is
and
that the guy we met?
Get a tarp.
Who
No,
was the
you
guy
didn't.
we met?
You didn't get to meet Ninja Mike.
That was Blue Indian, right?
Yeah, you met Blue Indian.
Yeah.
Oh, you met Blue Indian? Oh, that's right, because
Yeah.
you're down in Georgia.
Yeah, I am.
Anyway, your big three. All right, so we've got what's called the big three, and that's your backpack, which we already talked about, your sleeping bag, and your tent. Or your not sleeping bag, but they call it your sleeping system because some people use a quilt, some people use a bag, some people.
Now, my brother-in-law, he was talking about there's a thing where people go what's it called? Hammock camping.
Yes.
And they just put a tarp over them.
Yes.
So I didn't know.
Yep.
Yeah, hammocking is big on the AT too.
Yeah, so I guess I shouldn't say tent. I should say your shelter, your pack, your
Shelter,
sleep
yeah.
system, and your shelter.
Right.
And yeah, hammocking is very popular. I've got one if you want to borrow one, but I think maybe for this early in the year, it's going to be a little bit too cold, and I don't have. You need something called an underquilt for your hammock if you're going to sleep in it at night. The air.
I don't need a hammock.
You know how
whatever.
you see the signs that like bridge freezes before road.
Yeah.
Because the air goes under it and it cools it faster. Same thing happens with your body when you're in a hammock.
Oh yeah.
So you need that extra layer of insulation with the underquilt. I don't have one of those because I only use my hammock if it's like 80 degrees out. Okay, so I've got a backpack for you to borrow. I think the sleeping bag or sleep system that we're going to have you use. Now, I all of my sleeping bags are down. Synthetic is really good too. I just prefer down because it's lighter and you can compress it smaller. I'm going to loan you a.
Because Gary's a snob.
No.
No, I'm kidding.
No,
No, down is really, really nice.
Yeah.
I have synthetic though. Unfortunately, my down was stolen, but there are some good alternatives that are synthetic, and synthetic is cheaper.
And you can throw it in the stream and just wring it out, and it still works.
Yeah, that is also true.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't become ineffective once it's wet.
Yeah, once down gets wet, it's ruined. But so I'll hook you up with one of those. I've got an inflatable air mattress for you. And
luxury.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I thought y'all
that's hiking luxury.
I thought y'all just do like one person things and that's it.
What do you mean?
Oh yes, but these are one person air mattresses. I think you're thinking of like a real air mattress that you would put out for guests, right?
Yeah.
These are like single person air mattresses that are just like the outline of your body. That's it.
We used to always use those little egg crate things.
That's what I used when I was hiking.
Oh, okay.
It's like a 3/4 of an inch thick or something.
Yeah.
But the air mattresses are much more comfortable if you're used to sleeping in a bed.
Yeah.
And they keep you really warm too. That you think like an inch of air and just a little bit of foam gets you up off the ground or the floor of the shelter, whatever. And man, it's a game changer for sure.
For those people who are really into like the technical specs, is the R value, right, Gary?
That's right.
I don't remember which one's better, a lower one or higher one.
I also forget. We should look that up.
Well, we know the lingo at least.
Yeah. Here's what I know. I know I bought mine and then I stopped paying attention to what R value meant. Like I learned it and I retained the information just long enough for it to be useful, and then I pushed it out because my head is currently full. There's no room for any new stuff.
I didn't even consider it when I was looking for stuff that I was hiking with. I just was hiking with the Thermarest egg crate sort of thing that was a hand-me-down from my cousin. So
Oh, wow.
I didn't really consider an air mattress, but now I'm probably going to get one. They're
Yeah,
very
that'd be sweet.
comfortable.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll hook you up with all that, Daniel, and
Okay.
so that's all you need to survive. Like with those three things, you won't die for at least a day.
Okay.
But we don't want you to just not die. We want you to have fun too. We want you to enjoy
Okay.
Yeah, this
yourself.
isn't really about survival. This is about fun.
We're getting in the 70s later on.
Something wrong down there with the weather.
Yeah. All you Yankees are coming down here and enjoying it.
Not me.
Well, good. Y'all need someone up there to hold the fort down.
I don't want to be down there when you guys get half an inch of snow and the whole damn country down there. So all of the South just shuts down.
Because we don't have snow plows at all.
Ground all the flights, guys.
We have no snow plows. We have no
You
snow
don't
plows.
need a snow plow for a half an inch of snow. You just.
I want to see you. I want to see you drive on an inch of ice.
Oh, I do it every single morning. I have an inch of ice on my driveway, and I.
What do you drive?
I drive a sedan with front-wheel drive, not even all-wheel drive.
Okay, well, front-wheel drive.
Continue. I'll be back in a second. Let's see what else do we want to talk about. So I know we got the big three. Let's talk about what else goes in the pack besides just the bare essentials. Like Daniel, you brought up food earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're going on a 3-day hike, trying to do about 8 miles a day. Thinking about like spending a couple hours at camp before sun goes down. So we're we're kind of luxury hiking. What would you bring on a trip like that, Megan, to eat and drink?
Well, you're gonna have a stove, right? Because you're doing the whole luxury camping thing.
Yeah, we'll have stoves.
Are you gonna have those boil? What's it called? What did you call that? The boil thing?
Jetboil.
Jetboil.
Jetboil is the brand name of the stove that Gary owns. It's one of the more popular brands on the market, but there are other ones, like less expensive ones that you can pick up at Walmart, like I did with mine.
I've got some MREs that I've been dying to use.
Oh, no,
I would not be dying to eat those, but you can bring those right along if you'd like.
I mean, like my buddy gave them to me. And they're like, "Oh, they're good for 50 years." I'm like, all right.
Yeah, they're heavy. I think there's like 5,000.
I don't even think my pasticides are good for 50 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. These are like military grade. He's like, this guy in the army gave them to me.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So depending on how much you want to spend on your food, you could go with like the backpacker or mountain house meals, the freeze dried stuff.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Or dehydrated stuff. Those are really expensive, but they are pretty tasty and really convenient and easy to make and eat. But if you are shopping on the cheap, my favorite go-to was always a pasta side, like the Knorr brand pasta sides or the generic brand. I like the cheddar broccoli one in particular. And then I added a packet of tuna to it. It's like a tuna noodle casserole, but in a cook pot. And then if you want to add extra calories, which you probably won't need to add since you're not like
I don't want to
long-distance
add any calories.
backpacking,
I want to lose weight on this trip.
then I would stick to just that.
Yeah, just
you could
that
always
one bag.
add like a packet of gravy in there too.
Yeah, so
that's all I eat is protein.
Yeah, that's kind of my similar approach to dinner too. I like, dehydrated noodles, cook them up real fast in some hot water. Even in the summertime, a hot meal at the end of the day it just feels good.
Yeah, it does.
It reinvigorates.
Does it do it for you? Because I'm worried about like always being hungry. How do y'all deal with that? That's what my main question is.
You probably won't hit that point.
No, we're not over 3 days. We won't.
No. I feel like the hiker hunger doesn't really set in until you've gone for at least a week. Like
really?
Yeah, I feel like for just a few days. I mean, I went camping recently. I guess maybe it wasn't as recent as I'm imagining, but I didn't really pack much for food. because I was like, oh, well, I've got plenty of meat on me. And I really wasn't hungry. I ate a bunch of Cliff Bars, honestly. Like Cliff Bars and snacks. And that was all I ate.
Cliff Bars, Snickers.
And I was, yeah.
Oh.
But it was all, it was really, really dense food, but I didn't really get hungry. And it was mostly just snack food. It wasn't really meal type stuff. I think when you're doing long distance stuff, that's when you really need to make sure you're piling on the calories so that you're not starving yourself.
So y'all bring like a trail mix or something like for during the day to snack on?
Well, that's all your preference. Whatever you like to snack on during the day and whatever you think is going to be perfectly fine washed down with your water or your Gatorade.
Yeah. There's no real,
for me, it's not trail mix.
Yeah, there's not really like a lunch on the trail. So Daniel's got the right idea. You want something to just kind of like munch on throughout the day. For planning purposes, what I usually try to do is think of like, okay, if we're going out Friday through Sunday, chances are we're, getting there Friday afternoon because people have jobs, right? So I got one dinner, and then Saturday I need 3, like one of each breakfast. I put lunch in air quotes. Well, lunch is just munch. And then dinner. And then Sunday I figure, well, we got to have breakfast. And then lunch again, probably back to the car by middle afternoon. So that's 1 dinner, 2 breakfasts, and 3 lunches. Does that sound right?
Okay.
Now, when I say lunch,
that sounds right.
Yeah, that's just like a whole day's worth of snacks. So like Megan was saying, Cliff Bars, Snickers, Daniel said trail mix, like a bag of peanuts is good. You want to get your protein and calories throughout the day. I always like to include some kind of dehydrated fruit or something. Now, the cool thing about, the fact that we're doing, what I say luxury camping, we're going to lounge at camp is I will sometimes go so far as to like, throw a couple of steaks in a Ziploc bag for that first night.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe even take
That's
like a,
nice.
Get like a, you don't want like a Gatorade bottle, but like a smart water bottle, drink the water or, pour it into another container and use that. It depends on where you're going too. A lot of places you're not allowed to, but some places it's fun to bring like a little flask of wine or, something to sip on.
Mm-hmm.
Hanging out
they
by
make
the fire.
Wine in little mini plastic bottles in 4-packs. Just FYI.
Yeah.
And you can
they also now make them in like cartons too.
I think if you buy
boxes.
box wine, you could take that bag out and just put that where your Camelback goes.
Oh boy, there you go.
I think I saw.
Water. We haven't
once.
talked about water. How does that work?
Yeah, so where we're going, there's going to be water like every 15 minutes. Stream crossings, waterfalls, rivers.
So you're getting it from the river?
From the earth itself.
See, I've never done that, so.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work? I mean, I know there's like different filtration systems and stuff. So.
You are correct.
I mean, it's not like a pure filter, is it?
What'd you do with your water,
more, right?
Megan? How'd you do it?
How'd I do it?
Yeah.
I had a Sawyer filter, a full-size Sawyer filter.
If someone's never seen one, to describe how that works.
Yeah, so the Sawyer filter works with a really, really shitty plastic bag. Sawyer, feel free to improve the plastic bag that goes with your filter. You put water into this plastic bag water bottle, and you screw the filter onto the top, and then you squeeze the plastic bag. It might be actually like Mylar or something. It's a thick grade of plastic. Mm-hmm. You squeeze the bag, and then whatever comes out the other end is filtered water.
Instantly. You can drink it straight out of the tube.
Yeah, so you could drink it straight from the filter. I like to stay at a water source and collect water and then squeeze it into a different water bottle or into my hydration bladder because I didn't like carrying around this thing with my filter attached to it. It's really annoying, which is why I got the large version of the Sawyer filter because it purifies water at a faster rate. So it has a higher flow rate. But I went out and bought like a platypus bag, I think, a different brand of plastic bag.
I think like the full size Sawyer is good for like 1 million gallons. Like something you'll never wear it out.
You'll never attain it. Before that time comes, you will hike in weather that is too cold. Your filter will freeze and then it will be no good.
Yeah.
So
That's the
you will ruin your own
disadvantage to
filter
that.
before you get to that point.
Yeah. So the
Most
bags.
likely.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I just said you'll ruin the filter before you ever get to the point of, maxing it out.
Yeah. You
If
don't
you
let
will.
your Sawyer freeze. It works on a principle of it's like almost like a ceramic tube inside of it, and
Yeah.
the pores that the water passes through are microscopic, small enough that no single-celled organisms can get through. But if it's wet and it freezes, it'll expand. That cracks the pores widen, and now there's a path for pathogens to get through, and now you're fucked.
So how many times can you use it?
Like a million. Once you've processed 1,000,000 gallons, it's time to replace the filter, assuming that you clean it and take care of it. But a million,
Yeah.
think
So
about
it's
1,000,000
pretty
gallons.
much good until you break it.
It's good for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Because I'm seeing a bunch of stuff online,
and
like I see like one that's just a thick ass bag, and it says a 1 gallon water bladder, and then it's like a Sawyer 2-bag water filter.
and the filter, the threads on the filter actually match up perfectly with a standard pop bottle or soda bottle.
Yeah.
Smart water, that so that's a popular alternative to the bags that rip a lot.
I never got that because I don't like the sound of crunching the plastic, and I always thought the
that
plastic was
crinkling,
going to
it drives
crack.
me nuts. What I did, Daniel, is I started with a Sawyer filter. I had, it comes with 3 bags, and by the time I got to, I think, like New Hampshire, my 3rd bag had ripped. So I switched to Aqua Mira, which is just 2 little eyedropper sized containers that you carry. They're labeled in big bold letters, Part A, Part B, and you put 7 drops of each into a liter of water, shake it up, wait. It says wait 20 minutes, but I only wait 5, and then you can drink it.
Hey, Gary.
Yes?
Didn't you get Giardia on the trail?
I sure did.
Yeah, were you using that Aqua Mira stuff when you got that?
That was after the
I
Aqua
think he
Mira
said,
ran out.
he said, screw it. That other guy never got sick. Let's try my luck.
Yeah.
Right.
Some
Okay, sorry, I was
Southbounders.
So should I buy one of these? I want to know what I need to bring with me.
Right.
Should I buy one of these?
You don't need to buy any kind of water filtration. We've got that taken care of.
Let Gary filter your water. It's such a pain in the butt to do. If someone else offers to filter water for you, just take them up on it.
Okay. So what do I need to bring personally myself? I'm guessing food.
Yeah, you'll need to pick up some food. We talked a little bit about our diet, but we'll fill in the gaps later. You'll need clothes. You'll need something to wear.
Right.
Unless it's hike naked day, then you're in the clear.
Did any women do that? I was wondering about that.
Hells yeah.
You didn't do it, did you?
Not for a long period of time.
Oh, but you did do it for a minute?
Well, for a hot second there. I mean, I wasn't with anybody. I made sure of it at that moment in time. But I did get into I broke a rule. I broke a rule down south. I got into a creek.
Well, while you were naked?
Why is that a rule? What's wrong with that?
Because leave no trace. Like, you're not supposed to put your dirty ass body inside a creek that's possibly going to be someone's water source down the line. So,
yeah, you're natural just like that creek. You're as natural as that creek.
Hopefully everyone was filtering their water. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's okay. It happens.
Yeah. Hey, I got a message from Katie while we were talking about food. I asked her, she found a new brand of backpacker heat 'em up stuff. The brand is called Good to Go, and it's made in Kittery, Maine.
Oh,
yeah! And all the reviews on this stuff is like, they're all really good. It's like exotic stuff too. Like, I think they have a chicken tikka masala. Not exotic, but it's not just like beef and macaroni. You get like pesto chicken and like some actual stuff.
Ooh,
yeah. It packs down
great.
smaller
I wonder if they
than
take bulk orders.
Yeah, it packs down smaller than Mountain House, so you can stick more of them in your bag. So Daniel's going to need to bring food. We'll either help you pick it out, give you a list, or we'll stop by a grocery store on the way to the trail. I'm thinking we eat steaks that first night. My good friend Mark Hauser taught me how to make what he called Neanderthal steaks, where you just put the meat right on the coals. Like no grate or anything. You just, blow on the
That
fire
sounds really
until you have
interesting.
embers, and you just put the meat right on there. When it's time to eat, you just brush off the ashes and just, eat it with your hands and teeth, and just so good.
That sounds
So
delightful.
good.
How can you tell how it's cooked on the inside? You have to keep cutting into it, though?
No, you poke it with your finger.
Just poke it with your finger?
Yeah, we're
I'm not very good
low-tech.
at the poking meat test.
Yep. So we'll have
That's what
food
she
taken
said.
care of. What should we wear?
Oh, boy.
Daniel, I know you've got hiking pants, right? So you
I know. I want to be like my hero.
don't wear jeans.
Cotton kills.
I'm serious. I'm serious. Ever since I met Gary, I'm like, all right, I'm not doing jeans no more. So every time I go to Goodwill, I look for hiking pants.
I don't think I've worn a
Oh,
pair
Goodwill
of
is a
jeans
great place
in
to pick up
almost 10
hiking
years.
clothes.
I've only found one shirt. You saw it.
Yeah, so the hiking shirts, I recommend. I think it's like a polypropylene blend. It's what you want
Yeah.
to look for is moisture wicking material. So you don't want to wear like a cotton T-shirt. You want to specifically, like for this, if I know you already have some, so you won't need to buy some. But if you're getting ready to get into this activity and you've never done it before, I definitely recommend. It's what they call a base layer. So this is the shirt that's going to be right up against your skin. You'll also need something called an insulating layer, and that's the part that's actually going to keep you warm. So like a fleece, or if we're going to go someplace where it's going to be really cold, you'll want a down or a puffy coat. That's your insulating layer. And then the one thing you'll want to optionally put on top of that is your shell. So a windbreaker or something that, keeps the wind off of you. And those three things, the base layer, the insulating layer, and the shell, they're all surprisingly like lightweight. You hold one of them in your hand and you think, there's no way this is going to keep me warm. If you put on all three of those and start hiking, you will sweat. It does a great job.
Cool.
Yep. So for a weekend trip, I would generally bring like something to hike in and then something to wear at camp. And that's it. I wouldn't bring too many sets of clothes.
Okay.
Yeah, something
Camp clothes are important.
Yeah, something for camp.
What about underwear? Like, do you wear because I have some hiking pants that have it's like fishing kind of pantses. The fishing
pantses?
It's like it's a mesh layer, like it's a lining.
Yeah.
Mesh, like underwear.
So I don't wear underwear with those. I don't wear underwear with those.
Right. No, don't
That's
do
fine.
that.
You do you.
Daniel, you were in the Navy, right? Did you guys wear? You remember the green Marine Corps PT shorts the jarheads would wear?
Yeah.
That's still my underwear of choice to this day.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been out for I've been out of the Marines for 18 years. And I have still, like, for as long as I've been out, I've found them either on Amazon or some surplus and every year I'll buy like 10 or 15 pairs and then just replace them all at once.
Wow.
Now, my brother called those silkies.
Yeah.
Are those the same things?
Yep. And they're actually, they're running shorts, so you can walk around in them too. So like if
I've got a pair of them and I love them. I love running in them, hiking in them. They're great.
They're fantastic. And if I ever
so you're saying I can find more online?
Yeah. Steel shorts.
Soffe shorts. SOFFE is the brand name. And
gotcha. Yeah.
Yep. And
They're
I
well
still
known.
get the olive drab ones because.
So I shouldn't wear my cotton boxers, is what you're saying?
God no.
Okay.
If you're gonna do that, bring a bunch of like Vaseline and butt powder.
Jeez.
Okay,
just don't do it.
So what should I do for underwear if I do wear underwear?
Something synthetic. If you want to buy something, if you really want to buy something new, my favorite brand of the moment right now is Ex Officio. They make travel underwear. Like that's their market, is travel underwear. It's underwear that's wicking and can be washed really easily and dries quickly, and it doesn't chafe.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, they're expensive though. You're gonna pay a pretty penny for them.
But it's worth it. I mean, especially.
I think so.
That area you really want to take care of.
Yeah, that's a really important area. You really want to make sure that you give it top-notch quality stuff.
Yeah, hiking with chafing or scaly, flaky crotch.
Oh God.
No fun.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
I'm
No,
glad
you
you
don't-
told me about this because I would have just worn my underwear.
No, you don't want a
Just, you know.
UTI. You don't want to be doing that out there.
No.
Okay.
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 All right. So let's
That's
see.
good to know.
We talked a little bit of gear. We talked food. We talked clothing. What about luxury items? I'm going to bring some recording
Ooh.
equipment.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to record this. This is going to be, the next show is actually going to be a remote piece where we're going to travel with Daniel and we're going to go out and hit some trails and
Oh, I'm really jealous now.
get footage on location.
Oh,
Yeah. And then
wish I could be
I
there.
think after we do that, we'll have another call where the three of us will catch up again and Daniel can tell you how much fun he had. And
Don't
Or
give
how
away
much
the
you tortured.
ending. No,
spoiler alert.
no, you don't understand. I'm telling you, Gary's my hero.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
Take that out of the current. Do not record that.
I'm gonna put that on a
guys.
loop.
Oh, it's so sappy.
That's going to be the
No,
new
no, I
ringtone.
mean-
Every time Daniel calls, my phone's going to go, Gary's my hero. Gary's my hero. Gary's my
Oh.
hero.
The thing about it is, like, when me and him get together, we don't talk about hiking at all. We talk about pop culture and all kinds of stuff. And I mean, and that's what I like about when we go hiking. It's like hiking is just secondary, and we just talk and talk and talk and talk. Like when he was here, like all I'd be doing is waiting for him to get done with the book so we could go see stuff, go do stuff, go here, go there. You know, I took him to Stone Mountain the first time, the first night he got here, which was a lot of fun.
Is that the one in Georgia?
Yeah.
That one comes up a lot. That's a Pluton callback to a previous episode.
Yep. Largest mass of exposed granite.
It's got a big old carving on the front of it. Horses
Yep, I
and
used to work.
they shine laser beams on it at night. There's a concert.
Yep.
It's like a
I don't
lady
think I've
flying
been
through the
there.
air on strings you couldn't see.
Well, if you are,
It's
it's right by
nuts.
my house. Like you,
Oh, no.
if you go to the top of my neighborhood, there's a hill, and you can watch the laser show pretty much from that hill.
Stories from the Trail is a production of thetrek.co. Zach Davis, editor-in-chief. Your hosts are Gary Sizer and Megan Thompson, with music by Lee Rosevere. Stories from the Trail is recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Gary Sizer, in Blanket Fort Studios, which is literally just me in my basement with a blanket over my head. Thanks for listening. She turned me into a newt.